Have you developed a faulty dating style? I ask this because a lot of times people fail at relationships or they end up breaking up and they come in for therapy and they'll say, I don't know what I did wrong. Because that's what makes relationships so complicated. Very rarely in a breakup will your partner come back and sit down with you and talk, discuss what they needed more from you, or that what needs you had that they couldn't accommodate. Because people don't do that. They break up, they talk badly about each other for a while, they're hurt, and then they let it go and they move into a relationship without having that valuable information. What causes your dating style? Your insecurities. Whatever your insecurities are, they're going to align with one or two of these defaults, and you're going to do one or two of these defaults incorrectly, too much, and it's going to break up your relationship. So this is mostly aligned with women. And the reason I'm aligning it with women is because women give more power and weight, a bigger area to their relationships. They talk about them, they think about them, and women go into great detail after a breakup trying to figure out what went wrong. And they usually project what should be their stuff onto the person. Maybe they were a narcissist, maybe they were non-committal, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's more important that you align with which of these faulty dating styles your insecurities have led to so you can fix them. I'm going to go through several, and then if you can align with one or two of these, then you can start working on these so that you won't repeat them into your next relationship. When people say, I really want somebody completely different, what they're really saying is, I don't want to be hurt by the same kind of people I've been attracting. You may not be attracting the same type. You may just go back to your default, which is a faulty dating style, and that's what's bringing out the same behavior in the new guy. Okay, so the first one is, if you're a people pleaser to the max, if you are one of those people who can't stand up and say, no, I disagree, or I won't do that, I'm overdoing, then your partner is going to get disrespectful. They're going to take advantage of you. People who are always taking care of their partner, they're doing everything for them, they're basically always thinking of them, they become old after a while. And the reason they do is because there's no spark, and their partner begins taking advantage of them, not respecting them by calling them back or whatever, and it usually breaks up. If you're sexually enlightened, now don't get me wrong, it's good to know your body and your sexuality, but when you started your sex life and you were quite promiscuous and you build this dating life on your sexuality, then the relationship is only going to go as far as that sexuality will take it. There's no depth underneath. There's no connection of empathy and intimacy. You have to connect on an emotional level, and that is not a sexual level. That's a different type of a connection, and it's much more stable. Thirdly, you thrive on trauma. When you thrive on drama, that means you always need something happening in your life. There's always a problem, always an issue, always an opinion, and that gets old. Mostly because your partner's not going to know how to handle it. And they're going to start thinking, I don't know why all these bad things always happen to my partner. Like, is she causing it? Is she the instigator? It's going to make them suspicious, and they won't like it because at the end of the day, most people want harmony. You basically treasure your old baggage. Now listen, I understand there's a sentimentality to your old stuff, but when you carry that old baggage into a new relationship, it takes up space. It's heavy. You begin comparing your partner with your past partner, and that never works out well because your partner's going to end up thinking you haven't resolved your past. And you really haven't if you continue to bring up and pay attention to the old baggage. So it's really important you resolve what was in the past and let it go and keep it out of this new relationship. You're committed to finding a soulmate. There are a lot of New Age people. There's a lot of clients that come in and say, I just want to find my soulmate. I don't think this is my soulmate. I'm going to tell you my views about this. There's more than 1,000 people in the world that would work beautifully with you. And to think that there's only one that you're connected on a soul level, I don't buy it. I think you create your own soulmate. I think when you become more intimate and more connected on so many levels, you're sharing the housework. If you end up getting married and having children, you're sharing all of that. You create them. I know I created mine. He did not turn out that way, but I was with him since I was 20, and I plan to be with him till I take my last breath. You're a mother instead of a lover. You're a coach to your partner. You're the person that gets them out of bed and let's go for a run. You're the motivator. You need them to look a certain way and eat a healthy food, or you're really into that. And it's not good enough that, this is good for you, but pretty soon you're telling them what kind of ice cream to eat and how they could be so much better. That gets old. They won't like that. And after a while, they start saying, why am I not good enough for this person? Like, what more do they want? I can't do this for them. And I think that's what breaks up the relationship. You're a Klingon. If you need this person to be with you 24/7, it's not going to work, because relationships aren't like that. They need more than 24/7. They need something called space. They need alone time. They need time to figure out their own purpose, their own meaning in life. They need to be missed a little bit. Absenteeism is important in a relationship. So if you're clinging to them because you're so afraid of abandonment or being alone, those are issues you should talk to a psychologist about. Don't project them onto your partner. You're too independent. Basically, I think it's fantastic to be independent, but people who are too independent, that means those are people who have been really hurt and they have a big wall around them. And that wall doesn't break down easy. And even when it does, it's like any wall, they can hide behind it. So if you see yourself as that person, you know yourself, and it's something you can fix. You can start trusting more. You can start accepting more that to be vulnerable doesn't mean you're broken or you're needy. It means you're going to trust someone. You're perfectly perfect. When someone thinks everybody in their relationship is perfectly perfect, it's not going to work, because nobody's perfectly perfect. And people who try to be perfectly perfect are people that usually were raised by a parent who had a lot of focus, energy, attention into how others perceive them. And that means they didn't spend time loving you for being perfectly imperfect. And lastly, you're blindsided. You're in denial. When issues happen, rather than address them, you avoid them. No matter what it is, you can't talk it out. It's going to be okay. That's a bad default, because in relationships, things happen every day because it's alive and it's growing. Conflict is part of a relationship. The key is being able to talk it over and work it out. I hope these help you. None of us are perfect. We all have some default, but you better know yours, so that you're not totally taken off guard when you get ghosted or haunted or broken up with. Because you probably won't get the feedback you need, but you can give it to yourself.